Hey, Jackie. How
Hey,
you
Jen.
doing?
How are you
What's
doing?
happening? What's happening with you in this
You
day and
know,
age?
just the same old, same old. Just another
Yeah,
day.
it's another day. Is it pouring rain down there right now?
No, it is not, but it is on the cooler side. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
like in the 60s today.
yeah. Oh, well, it's a little warmer. It's only in the 50s down here.
Oh wow.
Up here from
Yeah,
you
up
guys.
there. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
north of me, honey.
it's pouring. Am I? I'm not even. I'm losing my brain.
It's
It's been one of those. It's been one of those days.
I hear
It's
you.
been one of those days, and sometimes the kind of day when you're like, okay, I need a reset button. I need a reboot button, like a
Yeah, huh?
computer. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
I think I
Like
need
a
one of
reboot.
those every day on the daily. Have to reboot. Like, 'cause I'm just like, I'm done. I need to start over.
Well, hey, you know what?
What?
So there's this. Today Thursday, on the recording of this, and every Thursday. Do you know what we do on Thursdays? You know what we do
What
on Thursdays at around this time?
what we do on Thursdays? We talk about some
It's
Reddit
that.
real
It's
estate
that time.
disasters. It's that
It's
time.
Reddit. Yeah, it's Reddit real estate disasters.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome. I'm excited for today. I'm excited for this. I
Me
need
too.
this.
Me
I
too.
really need the little break. I need the craziness because it seems like I ran out the door today, and in the pouring rain, had an appointment, had a closing. Terrific people,
Awesome.
but just
Congrats.
hectic. Thank
Yeah,
you,
huh?
but hectic.
Yep.
And delays and rushing and people on the highway and beeping and it's and then it's like, okay, now I get to talk to Jackie
Yes.
and hear about people's stories that are far crazier and far worse than mine.
Uh, yes. Oh, I got some doozies today.
Sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I wonder. You know, I don't know. Sometimes I scratch my head. I had an attorney. I had a paralegal try to throw me under the bus the other day,
Oh,
and
that's not good.
and told another attorney that I miscommunicated information to my client. I'm like, oh,
What?
is that right? Yeah,
No.
they had asked some basic questions about wiring and stuff like that, and you know what the thing is she CC'd me on the email
Oh,
to the other
that was
attorney,
nice.
throwing me under the bus. I'm like, well, at least I knew she was throwing me under the bus.
Yeah. No hiding that. So, well, that's
I
good.
was like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That is not what happened. That is not what
Yeah.
happened. Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
That is not what happened.
Uh,
Oy vey.
yeah, that falls under people suck category, but
Yeah, pretty
know.
much.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep.
But you know what? You know what doesn't suck? Oh, Jackie, you don't suck.
Oh, thanks, Jen. Neither do you. You're
always
like one of
feel
the
bad.
few people that doesn't suck. You know.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh,
thanks.
makes me so happy. Always makes me
Yay.
feel like there's hope in this crazy world.
Yes, yes, ma'am. All right. So
Well,
we got
so
some
you
good
got some
stuff.
stories.
I got some. Oh my God, I got some good ones today, Jen. Just
Oh
and
boy.
one story takes place down here in the Dirty Jers,
Oh boy.
Little New Jersey
Oh boy.
condo situation. I'm going to talk about. So, are we ready?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
go.
All right. So let me go back. Hold on one second. Here
Oh,
we go.
now you're not ready. Do
Okay,
you need
hold
some
on.
you need some preparation music?
I knew I
You
was
know
waiting.
I'm at the ready.
Waiting for it.
You take your time. We're waiting. Just we will wait for you, Jackie. We will
I'm
wait
ready.
for you.
I'm good.
You ready?
Yep. Okay. So this one just came in 6 days ago, and the title is First Time Home Buying Nightmare.
Okay.
So that says it all right there. Okay. So this person writes, "Hey all, I wanted to get this off my chest because I feel stupid at the moment based on a series of dumb decisions. This will be a bit of a story. In March of this year, my landlord informed me that he was going to be selling the condo I had been renting for the past 4 years. I had until my lease ran out in June to vacate. Thus, I started a mad dash to find new housing, and I wanted to ensure that was happening to me. sorry, I can do it again. I wanted to ensure that what was happening to me could not happen again. So I decided that purchasing was the better path.
Okay.
After about 2 months of searching, I landed on a 1,200 square foot townhouse in the suburbs of DC. I liked the home and put an offer 20,000 over asking and won. Safe to say my problems did not go away as the owner of this new home. The home was clearly a bit of a project. It needed a new deck, the yard was a mess, the cabinets were misaligned and damaged, and the upstairs carpet was stained with paint all over and just other crap. However, nothing I saw was a deal breaker. My inspection did not show anything that was glaring until my first huge problem. On the day of the final walkthrough, we noticed that the hardwood kitchen floor was undergoing major buckling. The realtor suggested at the time it was probably due to humidity. We sent pictures to a flooring specialist, and he judged that it would be about $2,000 to fix. This seller would only give me credit for $1,000, which I accepted because I wanted to get the deal over with. In hindsight, I should have delayed closing until I got someone to physically inspect the floor before signing a contract. This was a huge mistake. I have had 3 flooring specialists inspect the floor, and each one of them has told me nothing but bad news. There is a major moisture problem with the floor. We don't know where the water is coming from without tearing everything out. The entire floor was installed improperly, including using too thick of a board, which everything sits on top of. The kitchen and all the cabinets may have to be removed to fix the boards under them. A new floor will not be as thick, and therefore there will be a gap in things like door trims. What I originally thought was going to be a $2,000 repair looks like it could cost me more than $20,000. I am distraught. I am researching to see if I have any legal recourse. Probably not. And if the insurance company will cover any of the repairs. Also probably not. The moral of the story, don't let pressure force you into a bad purchase. I did, and I will have to deal with the consequences for who knows how long. Oh my.
Ouch. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is when it comes to floors buckling. Okay. Yep. And of course every situation is different, but in general, and I ran into this a lot with foreclosure homes. I used to represent banks, and after properties were foreclosed on, they were vacant for a while, the bank would hire me to clean it out or whatever, or bring in contractors, subcontractors, and get it ready to be sold.
Right.
And because the property is vacant homes with no climate control are never a good thing. Homes are not built to withstand drastic temperature changes, humidity changes. They're just not, right? So bad things will happen. And so I saw plenty of buckling floors, and even I have hardwood floors, and even with living in the Northeast, you have temperature swings between the winter and the summer and stuff like that, and it's wood. Wood is meant to contract and all the things.
Right.
Buckling floors don't happen overnight.
No.
They don't just like, oh, I'm going to go buy this thing. I'm going to make an offer. The floors are fine. And now mysteriously, like maybe a month later, 6 weeks later, the floors are buckling. I question that. I question the validity of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
how could they not pick that up on the inspection, right? Because she went in March of this year, and this was just posted 6 days ago. So now we're like, that was what they were, end of May.
So this is a townhome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did he say if it's a traditional townhome where it's like you have, first floor is, under the first floor is a basement, and or whether is it on a slab, or is it a stacked townhome? Like,
it doesn't say.
Is there an apartment underneath or something like that?
It doesn't say.
Because the thing is like, if you have a moisture issue because of, water, like a water leak, say from a plumbing fixture, that would be super obvious. Right?
Yeah, but
So
what
I don't know.
unless
So I mean,
listen,
that's my initial thought. That's my initial thought of like, okay, so how did they miss it?
right.
But then the follow up to that is, I mean, he acknowledged the thing that you and I would both say, which is, he should never have settled for that. He shouldn't have rushed into it.
And
And
that
hindsight
that
2020,
was my
I feel
next
bad.
thing.
I feel bad for the
Well,
kid.
they
I
felt the
do. I feel
pressure.
bad for him.
Well, think about it,
Yep.
Jen. He was getting kicked out, right? His condo was going up for sale. Landlord gave him notice, and
Yep.
he had to be out by June. Here we are approaching June. And what would have happened if they went back and said, "Hey, we got to have this thing rectified. The lift floor is buckling. It could be
Yep.
$20,000." If he delayed the closing, where would he have gone? So this is where the pressure comes in. And he was like, he said, I just wanted to get the deal over with. And now
Right.
you're walking into a nightmare,
I know.
moving into a
And
nightmare. So
it's sad. I mean, the flip side though is, so here's the thing, okay? And it doesn't tell you whether he's being represented by agents or the agent's jobs or whatever. I mean that firstly, especially on a first time home buyer, the agent is responsible for making sure, to a certain degree, protecting that home buyer from these types of long-term mistakes.
exactly.
And the other thing that came to mind is, if this kid, from the sounds of it, from the way you were telling the story, the way he was writing it, it's going to sound like $20,000 in repairs because of contractors and everything else. It's like, well, and he knew the house needed a lot of work. He knew the townhouse needed a lot of work. If you are not handy in any way, shape, or form, you should not be buying a house that needs work,
No.
especially if you're a first-time home buyer.
Yep.
End of story. If you are
Exactly.
not handy, I will tell you, the what he said about, if the floor is lower and now you've got a gap under the trim. So there are ways around that.
Yep.
There are ways around that. How do I know? Because I've done that stuff before.
Right.
Why? Because I bought a house that needs work and I'm handy.
Yep.
And my ex-husband was handy. And
Yep.
we did a ton. The only thing we didn't mess with was heavy electrical and plumbing.
Right.
And everything else we did ourselves. And, did we have to cut baseboards? Yes. Did we have to put in new baseboards? Yes. Did we have to maybe do some finagling with the trim? Yes, you can do it. You can do it and make it look good. Trust me.
Yeah.
Cut a
Yep.
little piece, put some wood filler to seal the joint, sand it down, give it a fresh coat of paint. No one will ever know.
Yep.
And so, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, if he does not know, if he doesn't have the skill set, or doesn't want to have the skill set, doesn't want to develop the skill set to tackle that stuff, then guess what? Now you're paying top dollar. And if you're going to have to pay top dollar for repairs, you shouldn't be buying a house as your first house.
Right.
You shouldn't be buying something that needs work.
True.
And I feel like I'm not taking this kid off the hook at all. But don't you think the agent should have, and maybe the agent did, maybe the agent tried to have a conversation with him, but I would think that, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've had buyers and they're like, oh yeah, I can do it. I'm like, yeah, but do you know how?
I say
you
that
know
all
how?
the time, and I'll give them a rough estimate. Like, this is what this could potentially cost
High.
you. You have to talk to
A
a
high
contractor.
estimate.
The
Yep.
high, oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's always high. Yep.
Yeah, I try to give them a wake up call and say, like, oh, this is great, but this is what it's going to probably cost you. And then they're like, yeah, okay, forget it. Like I said, I'm the worst realtor because I convince people not to buy houses. But anyway.
Same. No, you know what, Jackie? That's why you and I get along so well, is because we
It's
feel
true.
the same way. I get accused of that all the time by my clients. They're like, "Are you trying to talk us out?" No, I'm just making sure that you're making the right decision. I'm not here. I just don't want you to make I don't want this to become a Reddit story.
Exactly. Yep.
So, but and the reality of it is like, these are people. These are not walking paychecks. They're people. And so it's like, how much is this going to cost? Well, if it's going to cost $5,000, you tell them $8,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, because the thing is you don't know. You could rip up. Now, did he say what kind of flooring it was? Was it vinyl or hardwood?
I think it was hardwood. Hold on. Yep, hardwood kitchen floor.
So the thing
So
about hardwood, which I don't understand, because you said was it like a subfloor issue or something?
one of the contractors said it was they said the floor was installed improperly using too thick a board. I guess the
So the
subfloor,
subfloor, they
or a
used it.
board, or a board meaning the hardwood. I don't know, meaning the
So here's the
actual.
thing. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry BS on the contractor to a certain degree because
Oh yeah.
installed improperly would imply that it's not good and needs to be replaced. Having a subfloor that's a little thicker than it's supposed to be is not bad. It's not bad. It's just, I mean, maybe it's not preferred, but it's not, you don't have to replace it. Now, you know what I think is probably happening? I'm thinking that the subfloor is probably lifting. It's not a water issue. It's probably lifting. And that's not hard to, I don't know. I feel like sometimes the contractors go in there and they're like, this is what it's going to cost to get it back to where it should be. And it's like, yeah, but how can we just fix the issue and make it right so that it's, so I can live in it? You can take sheetrock screws. You can screw the sheetrock screws that have a flat head into the ground. It'll pull the subflooring down. And then you put new flooring in. And the thing with hardwood floors is if it's true tongue and groove hardwood, you don't have to replace the whole floor. You just replace the section that is maybe a little bit damaged. If it's just buckling because of hardwood floor, you may not be able to you may only have to replace a couple boards because you're going to have to, you're going to have to pull some out to get to the floor, right?
Right.
But is it a pain? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But can you watch some YouTube videos and maybe call some buddies and try? And Jackie, that's how I learned everything that I know about all the home and DIY stuff I do. It's all it's all like, I mean, yes, I've talked to professionals, but it's all research.
Exactly.
And then I try I try a little thing. And this is what I would say about everybody listening that DIY stuff. Like, don't be so scared to do DIY. The thing that you got to do with DIY is you got to do, number one, have an exit plan. Like, what's the worst case scenario? And number two, like, start on a small project first. Do something small. So like my exit plan, if I'm doing something on plumbing, it's like, what's the worst case scenario? Well, I'm going to have to turn the water off to the house and call a plumber. Do I know where the water shutoff is? Yes. And if I have to turn the water to the house off, I do this project on a day that I'm not going to need water, just in case.
Yes.
And I don't do it on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. Anyways.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, that was sad for that guy.
I know.
That was
What
sad.
do you think? What do you think?
I think, well, first of all, if reading it again, I think, they noticed it at the final walkthrough. It is possible something could have happened. They're saying it was a moisture problem. A pipe could have burst or something underneath the floor. That is possible. Things happen.
Yep.
If the home was vacant, that's very easily could happen. So, but I also question the flooring specialist. I do, because they tend to blow it out of proportions to a degree to make it look really bad. Then when they go in and then they'll realize, oh no, it wasn't this, it was that, and it's not gonna be that big of a project. You know what I mean?
But while we're here, we've got we can do this flooring, and you might as well.
Yeah,
you're spending this kind of money. You might as well spend a little bit more, and we can just do the whole thing.
He had 3 flooring specialists come in to inspect it, and I guess they're all in agreement that there's a moisture problem with the floor. Well, look, at the end of the day, he's just got to get somebody trustworthy in there to fix it, and that's that. So it sucks. It sucks. But again, when you're rushing through and you want to get a deal done, and I'm sorry, I'm going to throw a little shame to his buyer agent, because I know the difference between when the floors expand and contract, right, from humidity, because we see it all the time here, like you said, in our neck of the woods. Buckling is a whole different thing. Buckling is like
Absolutely.
That is not like your basic, expanding, contracting due to the weather. That you can tell that that's an issue. If I was that agent, I would be on the phone with the listing agent saying, we have a big problem here. We're not closing. Period.
Nope.
End of story. Because
How did he get
there's
a
an issue.
loan? If the mortgage company caught wind of that, the mortgage company would never have closed the loan.
It was the day of closing, and they thought, it was
Yeah. It was just kind of swept
I
under the
mean,
rug.
he's trusting the real estate agent. They sent pictures. They sent pictures to a flooring specialist. He said it'll probably be about $2,000 to fix. You can't go on by pictures. That's what I would have been like, no, we're holding off until we get somebody in here to take a look at this to see what's going on.
Yep.
And there you have it. But so,
it's funny because, I went to, and you can't make this stuff up. I went to the closing that I had today. Mm-hmm. This house, it was a second home for my sellers, little cottage by the beach, year-round home, right? But less than 1,000 square feet. Look, small house. But I mean, when I say this thing is meticulous and it's updated, like you could eat off the floors. Like that's the way. Like you're like, I wish every seller was this meticulous. Like it was crazy meticulous, right? And the buyers knew that. They knew they're buying it for a family member, and they, and they were, so impressed, and and the whole 9 yards. They scheduled final walkthrough, and I show up because I typically go to the final walkthroughs as the listing agent. I go there just in case there's questions and all this stuff, and the buyer says, oh my gosh, this place is spotless. And she's like, she's like, you know what? We didn't need to do a final walkthrough. Why did we even have to come? Because they were coming from the city and coming down and stuff like that. She's like, we didn't even need to do this. And I looked at her, and she's not my client. Right. And I looked at her and I said, you always want to do a final walkthrough. Yeah. Doesn't matter, even on new construction. Because once that's it. I mean, and this is an experienced buyer. Like she's bought many properties, and I'm like, how, regardless on how nice, what happens? What if?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Some
people just don't get
it's
it.
Like you just don't know what the last minute things. Yep. Now, fortunately, they didn't find zip, which is what I would be expecting.
Right.
But what if we walked into the house and they have hardwood floors, and what if the hardwood floors were buckling? If they had skipped the final walkthrough, they would have been screwed. Yep. And that could have happened like overnight. I mean, we had all this torrential rain. Yeah. Like it was pouring. It was buckets, right? For a short period of time. So it was just crazy that I'm like, I can't, I'm like, no, you just, and of course her agent was okay. Agent, yeah, well, she was okay. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. And she did say like, you never want to skip a final walkthrough, but yeah, crazy.
Yeah, never
crazy.
Anyway, all right. So number two. Now this one goes back. This is like 3 years ago, but I thought it was good to bring up because people are still doing these leaseback agreements now in this market, right? Where the seller will rent back, pay the owner rent after they pay the buyer rent after they close. So this was this story. I was like, oh my God. So I figured this would be a good one to talk about just because this is still going on today. Yep. So, all right. So this is titled Nightmare Leaseback Agreement. Please help. To start off, I want to mention a few things. My husband and I have a meeting with a lawyer later this month. It's the soonest we could get. The real estate agent and now her boss are aware of the situation. We've asked our title company and realtor for help, and they are useless. Nice. Okay. My husband and I just bought a house, and we are in the middle of a nightmare leaseback agreement, also known as a rent back agreement. We already closed on the house over a month ago, and we own it. When we made our initial offer, the seller of the home told our realtor that she needed a little time to find a place to live. Her plan was to rent, and she was already looking. We said it was no problem. Our realtor wrote up a leaseback agreement where it was agreed that the seller would pay a daily fee for living there after closing, and that she had to be out by June 30th, or else she would start paying $200 a day. The seller was also supposed to put $2,500 in escrow with the title company until she moved out. There was supposed to be a walkthrough as well. My husband and I signed this document. Throughout the closing process, our realtor reassured us that the seller was moving soon and that she was helping her find a place. After closing, our realtor realized that she never submitted the leaseback agreement for closing. To make matters worse, she never even got the seller's signature on the leaseback paperwork.
Oh, no.
Hold on to your hats. The title company and our lenders had no idea about this leaseback agreement because the realtor forgot to inform them. Our realtor had assured us it was taken care of, and as first-time home buyers, we didn't know better. The closing process took forever, so my husband and I allowed the seller to have 1 month free living in our newly purchased house. While the month is up on Monday, and she won't pay for the rest of June. Well, the month is up on Monday, and she won't pay for the rest of June. She left us a check made out to the wrong name, and she also underpaid by several hundreds of dollars. We couldn't even cash a check because it had the wrong name on it. The payment is due Monday, and we know she won't pay. She's avoiding us and avoiding our calls and living in our house for free. When I did get her on the phone, she tried to argue with me about the amount she owes us. We sent a very clear email asking for the money with the proper amount and how to send it. To make matters worse, this seller keeps trying to push back her move-out date, and I'm 8 months pregnant. She decided to buy a house, and she closes on the 24th, but she can't find movers. I don't believe her at all. If she doesn't send the payment, we thought maybe we should send her a 5-day notice to pay or quit. But here's the tricky part. She never signed the leaseback agreement. There technically is no legal agreement. There is no record of it in the loan or with the title company. She stated in an email months ago that she would sign it, but she never did. Would the courts consider that an official agreement, or is she technically a trespasser living in our home? She's been very non-communicative and awful. Is there any way we can get legal advice quickly? I'm so lost. We live in Virginia. Any advice would help. Now, mind you, this is from 3 years ago, so I wonder how this thing ended up working out for them.
Yikes.
So,
oh boy,
this
oh boy,
is a case of you got to make sure everything is in place. And I understand they're first-time home buyers. But if I didn't see that email come through with the lease, with that lease agreement, or if I did see it and there's no signature on it, I would be going back to the real estate agent. How can the real estate agent totally miss that?
Or, okay, so here's the first thing I'm going to say. If somebody's looking to do a leaseback agreement of any sort, even if you're selling your house to your best friend, don't let anyone handle the paperwork except an attorney.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Period. Period. Okay, here's the thing. Real estate agents, that real estate agent could lose her license. Real estate agent deserves to lose her license. Do you know why? You know why. I don't have to tell you. I'm not asking you. It's a lot of people don't realize, like, that is a direct violation of it is in Massachusetts anyways. Of Massachusetts licensure law forbids me from conducting business that may be perceived as a profession other than my own.
Right.
If I write a contract, I am acting like an attorney. Boom, I could lose my license. If I quote numbers or tell someone, hey, this is definitely going to be X amount of dollars to repair, I'm acting like a contractor. So we're like constantly, right? We're constantly like, hey, I can give you like a general estimate. Like even home inspectors won't give estimates on repairs because they're bound by home inspector licensure law.
Yes.
Right? So so a real estate agent should never write a contract unless they hold a law license. Unless they're licensed to practice law, they should never, ever, ever write a contract. And she deserves to lose her license for that. Number one.
She does.
Okay.
Totally.
But if
Yep.
it's attorneys involved, the attorney will make sure, number one, that there's a paper trail, that all the correct verbiage is in the document to protect, both parties, or at least the party that they're representing. And they won't let the thing close until everybody's signed off. That being said, Jackie, anytime you do a lease back, even if you have a document that's signed by an attorney and all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, what if can the seller that's living there just up and decide to say, well, I know it's in the contract, but you know what? I don't have the money to pay you. And by the way, I don't have any place to go, so I know I'm supposed to be out on the 30th, but I won't be. What do you do?
Yeah.
Now you have to go through eviction court.
Yep.
Because that seller now, because you're collecting rent, is a tenant. They're under tenant protection, and now you have to evict them.
Right. Exactly.
Period. Any use and occupancy, even a day. This is why attorneys cringe when you tell them that this is what both the buyer and seller want to do. They never want to do it because it's just too risky. It's just too risky.
So I'm just going through the responses to this. Somebody wrote, time to lawyer up a lot. First problem is the E&O claim against your realtor. They effed up and caused you damages. Fortunately, licensed agents usually carry E&O insurance for these things. Secondarily, you will need a lawyer for an eviction. That's why I'm bringing this up, because you just said that. Legal agreement or not, she technically has tenancy to the property and needs to be removed through legal eviction system if she refuses to move otherwise. Based on the circumstances, your realtor's E&O policy might cover the cost associated with the eviction. God, I want to know, how did this end up? What did they?
I know.
We need a follow up.
Oh man!
But isn't this crazy?
Yeah, it's just sad. It's sad that. Oh
my God!
It always comes back to the crappy agents.
It does.
Not always.
It does, Jen, and it's really frustrating.
It's really frustrating because the fact is that our job is to, everyone. Okay, everyone is quick to judge, to think that our job is to find them a house, or sell their house and do the thing and do the all. Like, no, our job is so much more, our responsibilities, which a lot of agents don't take seriously, and they don't do their job. And our ultimate job is to protect in its entirety the client.
Right. Protect
and guide the client. That's what they're looking to us for. That's what they're leaning on us for. That's what we're getting paid for. It's not to point out. I mean, Jackie, I'll be honest. This came up at the closing, and my clients were like, I don't know how you do it, Jen. It's it's so hard and all the things and all that stuff and driving around. I'm like, to be honest, I said, the hardest part of my job now is keeping up with phone calls and emails. Like, finding a house is the smallest part of my job. Why? Because the information is all transparent.
Yeah.
I'm not the gatekeeper of the information anymore. We're not. Like, the buyers have as much access to information as we do, and they know what they want more than we do. Even if I ask a million questions, they know what they're looking for. Now, you get to know the client, and so you can advise them and whatnot, but initially that's what we would be, what our job description. But no, our job description now is a counselor and psychologist, but it's also like double checking everybody involved. Right. As a listing agent, I'm making sure the buyer agent's doing their job, or vice versa, and making sure that my client's protecting all the things. Right. And I feel badly for these people because
what a disaster.
You can say that, they shouldn't have done it. Well, first time home buyers, I would say, if you're a first time home buyer, okay, and you're looking to buy a house, even if you have the best agent on the planet, you should still do your homework. take a class, do some research. There's endless amounts of research online.
Yep.
Endless amounts of research to know how do I do a walkthrough? How do I do a home inspection? What are the pitfalls? What should I be looking out for? And yes, some of it can be convoluted or contradictory or whatnot, but at least like take some steps to become educated. And so that you're not, it's just like advocating when you go to the doctor, right, Jackie? It's like, the doctor's like, oh, you have this ailment. Do you sit there and go, okay, so what do I do? Oh, I think you should have your arm cut off. Yeah. Okay, can we do that next Tuesday? Like, you would never do that.
No, it's called second opinion. Like, yeah.
You would get a second opinion. You would advocate. You'd be like, okay, what is this thing that they have? And you'd look it up and you'd go on all the different sites and you'd be like, I want to learn about this thing that's in my body to make sure that this is the right advice. Well, this is no different.
Right. Exactly.
You picking up what I'm laying down here, Jackie?
I got you, Jen. So, all right. So I hope, since that was 3 years ago, I hope that woman's still not living there. I hope they got the owner out.
The baby's a couple years old now.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So let's move on to this New Jersey condo nightmare story.
The jurors.
We're in the jurs.
Oh boy.
We're in my hood. We're in my hood.
Deep in the hood.
We're in my hood. Okay. This is very interesting, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one, Jen. So anyway.
I will give them to you, Jackie.
What's that?
I said I will give them to you.
You bet. I know you'll give them to me. You better.
I don't hold back, Did you know that about me?
No, not at all.
Did you know that I typically
really?
I'm not really that shy and kind of I kind of
don't hold back. Tell us how you feel, Jen. Okay.
You know how I really feel right now? I really want an ice cream sundae. That's how I really feel.
Do you really?
I really do.
We'll be done soon.
Can you make that happen?
Well, I can't in a second, but we'll be done soon, and you can go take.
What's your favorite flavor ice cream?
Really, vanilla. I'm just vanilla.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Why?
Jackie Baker. That's like vanilla, just plain vanilla.
Yes.
Just like no extra things. Like
no, I don't think mint chocolate chip will probably be the next one, but then after that, I like all that fancy stuff. Like, it's okay. I'm very
I don't like the super fancy, but I do like some black raspberry ice cream. Black cherry.
No, thank you.
No,
I'm just boring. Anyway, onto this Jersey condo nightmare.
Hey, I'm just throwing in some extra stuff, so because now inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, well, thanks for asking. All right, here we go. So this one was posted just 9 months ago. So this is fairly recent. Okay. Purchased a 1-bedroom condo. He says here, it's an up and down duplex, purchased in New Jersey over 9 years ago. We have the upstairs unit and the downstairs unit has been vacant since purchase. So it's vacant for 9 years. Okay. Downstairs unit was listed and is under contract. We was recently contacted by their real estate agent stating that there was a leak from our tub and their plumber wanted to confirm. Turns out there was a leak from the bottom side of our tub drain under the floor, which wasn't visible from our unit. After confirmation, we immediately fixed the leak. On behalf of the prospective buyer downstairs, the real estate agent has reached out to me asking us to pay for the downstairs mold remediation. The unit has been unoccupied for many years and has what looks like a year's worth of mold. If the leak was reported promptly, it would have been fixed long before the mess downstairs happened. HOA laws state damage caused by negligence or intent or malicious acts is the responsibility of the unit owner, but it does not go into detail. There is another law in the HOA stating damage is to be either reported or fixed promptly. I have ignored the real estate agent's request, only stating that we have repaired the leak. We have not been contacted by the current or prospective owner, the HOA, or any lawyer claiming to represent anyone. I feel the downstairs unit owner's neglect of their unit for the better part of a decade is their negligence, and I'm not willing to remedy a mold situation they created. There is no reasonable way to know about the leak without opening our floors and getting under the tile. They left their unit to rot for years with no cleaning or upkeep. Money is tight, and we don't wish to spend money on lawyers or repairs unnecessarily. Is the new buyer and agent just fishing, trying to make someone pay for something they should remedy or should have known before starting the purchase? I have only had contact with the real estate agent. Should I ignore them? Also, I plan on listing my unit at the end of the year. If their sale price drops due to the mold issue, will it affect the market for my unit? So this is not
Okay.
that owner's fault. This is the guy. This is the owner of that vacant unit. No one went
Okay.
in there to check.
So
Right?
the downstairs, I'm just trying to get all my facts here. So it's 2 units,
Yep.
one upstairs, one downstairs. He owned the unit upstairs on
Yeah.
the second floor.
Yep.
The unit downstairs, owned by someone else,
Vacant
has been vacant
for 9 years.
and for 9
9
years.
years. Yes.
Okay. And his unit had a leak into their unit,
Correct. It was
but
underneath.
nobody knew because
Nobody knew
the unit
about
was
it.
vacant.
Nobody, right? Because it was vacant, and the owner never went and checked on the place. Never been there.
Okay.
You
And
know.
now they're selling the downstairs unit
Correct.
and they're trying to hold the guy upstairs.
Responsible for
Hostage?
the mold. Yes, they want him to pay for the
No.
mold remediation. Absolutely.
Okay, so
not.
the way condo laws work, Jackie, in Jersey, sure is no different than Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, the master you gotta look at a master deed. Like if it's a condo, any condo, duplex, multiple units, it could have 200 units, it could have 2 units.
Mm-hmm.
It has a master insurance policy. It has a master. It has a condo, a master deed.
Right.
Right. It has legal documents that stipulate who is responsible for what. And typically in a condo, it studs in. Or
Yes.
if it's a half, it's literally half over. Right? So
Right.
you're not responsible for what happens to the other unit, even if it's caused by your unit, the other person's insurance will take over.
Right.
Period. Now you can chase the person that was the cause. Like if he has insurance and maybe the deductible is $500, he can go to the unit that caused the leak and ask them to pay the $500 because they originated the leak, right?
Yeah.
But unless it's stipulated, that would be stipulated in the master deed.
No, you're absolutely right.
Thinking properly on that?
I think so. Yeah, I agree with you. There's not many comments on this one. I'm just trying to see if anybody was mentioned what you're saying about the master deed. Somebody just said to ignore them. You fixed a leak as soon as there was any reasonable way for you to know it existed. You are not responsible for damages caused by the downstairs unit owners because the owner's being negligent. It's true. They failed to monitor the property. So just in case they decide to escalate, though, start low key, covering your bases, keep all receipts and copies for communications, anything
Yes.
not in writing.
Or better yet, don't do anything not in writing.
Exactly. Try to
Follow everything up with an email.
Yep.
Have them only communicate to you via written mail or email. Period. Period.
They also said here, if you're contacted by the HOA or a lawyer, it's probably worth retaining a lawyer to draft them a go away letter, spending a couple $100 up front to head off a suit or judgment. So
the only thing that I can see, it's like the thing that could come back to him would be if he's going to sell that property in the next 6 months and this situation doesn't get remedied. I think he could get into trouble if he doesn't disclose to the buyers of his unit that there is a unit below them with a mold issue. If I were the buyer of buying that second floor, and I have asthma and all the things and whatever. And if I wasn't told that there was a known mold issue, even if it's not in the other unit, there would be some, I would take issue. I would talk to an attorney. Like that would be like he would have to, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's does it directly, but with a condo, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
It's tough, Jen, because he's in his own condo. The one downstairs has nothing to do with him.
But it's the proximity. It's
True.
the proximity, right?
As far as responsibility of disclosure, he should only be disclosing what's going on in his place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I agree with you. He should it's called doing the right thing. I mean, he should.
It's called doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I think you're right in the sense that he's probably not required to disclose it.
No,
but it would definitely. I mean, but I mean, let's be honest. It would be the right thing to do.
Yeah,
it would be the right thing to do. And could
sure.
that hinder? Yeah, it definitely would hinder. But
yeah, it would definitely hurt him. But
or better yet, you just honestly, like, I don't know, if it were me, if they didn't get that thing done, I would be calling the Board of Health and just be like, there is a known mold issue in this condo and the homeowner's not fixing it. Bring the Board of Health in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know what I'm saying? And force their hand to deal with the issue. Because, I mean, mold can travel. You have a mold issue that's on the inside. Guess what? That mold is going right. It's going to collect in the walls.
But it could go to his place.
100%. It's just drywall. Right?
Yeah.
It's just drywall. It'll go through drywall. It'll go through wood. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It'll rot it away. Yep. It could affect the structural integrity in the bathroom.
Yep. That sucks. That just sucks. I feel for that guy.
Jeepers creepers.
All right.
That's
yeah.
I mean, who does that? Disappears. That owns a unit, then disappears for 9 months, 9 years.
Again, that's their problem. Anyway,
maybe he knows the guy from our Reddit stories from last week, and he left the country because he's a meth dealer or something.
Yeah,
they're in the same island.
Yeah,
they're probably in the same island.
It could be, or they're in jail. They're in jail for being meth dealers.
They could be in jail.
So
it's entirely. Things are expensive, Jackie. Mm-hmm. And you got to do, sometimes people do side hustles. You got to do what you got to do to get those bread and eggs. Good
point. I hear you, Jen.
I haven't done that.
Me neither, but you got to.
I don't want ice cream that bad. To start selling meth to get ice cream. Oh my goodness.
All right. So
on the trip to Crazy Town.
Yes. Well, speaking of Crazy Town, this one is about somebody buying a Zillow-owned home. You know how Zillow?
Do you have? We don't have those here. Do you?
No, we don't. We had.
Are they they a licensed bro? I don't think they're. We don't have.
They got out of it. So this is from 2 years ago. This is when Zillow was doing their iBuyer thing, where they buy people's homes and turn around and sell them. So they got out of it. They're not doing iBuyer anymore.
Correct.
We've only had in my market. I've seen open door listings, but
have you?
Yeah, not recently. I was like about a year ago. I saw a couple of them around. I'm like, oh, really? But this was interesting because I look, even though Zillow's not doing this anymore, I just wanted to prove like what a bad idea this was for Zillow to do this.
So what you're saying is this is I told you
Zillow
or something like that.
You can't trust Zillow. But anyway, okay.
Zillow is not the devil. They're just not great at what they do in this realm. They're good for data to a certain degree, I guess. Providing general data, but they should definitely not be in the real estate representation.
And now
business.
they're getting into the mortgage business too, right? You know that.
Yep.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm like. You know what, Zillow, stay in your damn lane. Why you get
stay in your lane,
right? Why are you bridging over
I'm not gonna
in your world? So
no, I'm not gonna start filling teeth and becoming a dentist on the side.
You're
just
not?
because.
Why not?
No. Although I have left power tools. I have some good power tools.
You
I could
can
do some
do it,
damage.
and you just go
I
on
could totally.
YouTube. Just
I'll just
watch
go
a
on
video on
YouTube.
YouTube, and you can figure that out.
How
All
to
right.
fill a cavity with the DIY how to fill a cavity.
There you go.
You just need a
Jen.
drill with a small drill bit and melt some silver and
It's all good.
yeah.
Anyway, nightmare after purchasing a Zillow-owned home. Okay.
Oh, I can't. I'm actually excited about this because
This is a good
I
one.
haven't really heard any stories about
Me
Zillow.
neither.
Well,
That's why I saw this
yeah,
headline.
I'm
and
very
like,
curious. How old is this article?
This is from 2 years
post?
ago. This is from 2 years
2
ago.
years
This
ago.
is when Zillow was in the iBuyer field
Oh, right.
market, whatever
You
the hell
said
you want
that.
to call it. Okay.
Yeah.
So they go on to say here, hello, everyone. Where do we even start? I'll try to make it short and sweet. My husband and I are looking for advice. We purchased a Zillow-owned home and closed escrow on 10/19. We recently had a leak in the kitchen. What's with the leaks this week? All those stories. Okay.
It fits the day. It's a slushy day.
It does.
It's a gushy day. Yeah.
We recently had a leak in the kitchen and called the home warranty only to find out that it was never paid for. Additionally, the HOA documents and transfer were never ordered. I remember asking multiple times regarding receiving our HOA documents during escrow, and they kept stating we would be receiving them in the next week or so. With everything going on, I forgot. I recently contacted the HOA regarding moving a wall in our front yard and was told they didn't have our information as owners.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there for a second. I'm gonna stop you there for a second. So they purchased a house with an HOA,
Yeah.
and they don't. I mean, it must be if it's a required HOA. How did they without an HOA certificate
Yeah.
to the title company?
Thank you. Okay, because it's Zillow.
Okay.
So let me go on. She also
Okay.
now talking to the HOA that they were also told that they were considered delinquent since the
Yep.
November, December HOA bills were not paid. We never reviewed bills because they didn't know ownership had changed. Story gets worse. So Zillow bought the home from someone and then quickly turned around and sold it to us. The old owner happened to come to our home because her husband had accidentally sent a package to the old address, which is our new home, and she wanted to retrieve it. We got to talking and I asked her about the leaks. She stated she disclosed multiple leaks to Zillow. Our disclosures had no mention of any leak or plumbing issues. Our realtor was also the seller agent, so he was doing both the selling and the buying of the home. He was so shady, but we obviously didn't realize this until now. When we made an offer, he told us to waive the termite contingency, and after we complete the termite inspection, we'll ask for a refund because the home will most likely need termite repair. Well, after our termite inspection, we included a $5,000 repair request, a reimbursement, which was denied by Zillow because we waived the termite contingency. The agent was basically like, yeah, they're not going to give you money for that. So we're basically SOL. My husband and I really have no idea about real estate and feel totally taken advantage of. We are seeking advice and we'll be so thankful for anything you can do to help us with. So
Of course they were absolutely taken advantage of.
what the hell?
Oh my
What the hell,
gosh.
Jen? Are you kidding
Oh my
me?
gosh. Okay, so PSA time. Okay, which this is going to become a non-issue. I feel like come August, right? Please, for the love of God, do not work with anybody who in our industry is called a dual agent. An agent that
Amen.
represents both the seller and the buyer. It is not possible for one person to be looking out for the best interest of two separate parties on the two different sides of the table.
Mm-hmm.
It is not possible.
Yep.
And it shouldn't exist. We have dual agency in Massachusetts. I will not practice dual agent. I refuse.
We have it here in Jersey, but I'm going to tell you,
won't do it.
Jen, with this, I mean, we're going sideways a little bit here, but just to add to what you're saying, when this whole change happens come August with this buyer commission nonsense, it's going to go to dual agency. People are going to go work. They're going to go want to deal directly with the listing agent because they're not going to pay for a buyer's agent.
Yes and no. I think it's going to be the buyers are going to go directly to the sellers because they don't want to pay they're going to try to avoid paying a buyer agent fee.
Yeah. Yeah.
The seller, they're going to go directly to the seller's agent, I should say. But the seller's agent is going to be required. The seller's agent should be required to not let me rephrase that again, and my brain is going too fast for my mouth. So there's going to be a lot of Reddit stories. I'm just going to say that. There's going to be a lot of freaking Reddit stories about buyers going directly to the listing agent and the buyers going, holy crap, I didn't realize that the seller agent was not also advising me. Mm-hmm. They're going to say that. Even though the seller agent is supposed to tell them, hey, listen, I'm only working for the seller, period. I will present your offer to the seller, but I am not representing you. I am not looking out for your interest, and I will negotiate against you, period. And if you have a really nice agent and everything else, they get sucked right in, and the agents there's going to be so many lawsuits, and there's going to be so many people that are complaining because they're going to get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
100%. 110%.
It's going to be fun. Yep.
It's not really. And I don't mean to laugh because it's not a laughable thing because it's the consumer. I'm gonna do another sidebar, and as much as everyone's like, yay, pitchfork, agents, we don't want to pay your fees and all the things. What people don't realize is at the end of the day, the consumer's the one that got screwed with this whole thing.
Totally.
The consumer got screwed because Jackie, you and I, when we do our job, we will still get paid.
Yep.
We represent buyers. We're going to negotiate. We'll get paid for the time that we put in. We'll work with sellers. We'll get paid. The buyers are the ones that are going to get screwed because they're not going to be armed with the right information, and no one is going to be looking out for them. Even more so than what we have with these Reddit stories.
Yep.
I mean, all these Reddit stories make you go they make you cringe. It's going to get worse.
It is.
And that makes me frustrated and angry because at really the people that benefited most with that whole lawsuit were the attorneys.
The attorneys.
Because they walked away with some fat checks and basically were like the greedy, like, we got the money now, let's go. That's basically what happened. And the consumer thought that they got the win, but no, they did not.
No. All
they had to do is go on Reddit. They should have totally added Reddit into testimony. They should have told. Right? If the National Association of Realtors had brought in Reddit stories for testimony.
Oh my God.
We probably would have a different outcome. Yes.
Oh my God.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. If they had done that, they would have had some serious testimony to be like, okay, so this already exists. How can we make that situation better? Yeah. And this is not the answer.
No.
Oh man.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
Note to self. Note
to everybody listening. A, do not do a dual agent.
Yep.
B, work with somebody that has experience in the business, and if you don't, then you reach out to Jackie and I, and we will get you in touch with somebody who's not going to screw you.
Absolutely.
End of story.
Absolutely.
And a PSA.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
so
never buy a home from one of these iBuyer companies like Open Door,
Zillow,
or
no. I mean, this is crazy. So the HOA, I mean, you can't sell a house like you can't sell it. How do you sell a house?
How do you sell a house
with how do you okay? So let's back up a second because the people listening are three audience members or whatnot.
Four. I think it's a 4, Jen. Come on.
It is 4. We might even have 5. But anyways, they may not understand. Like when you sell a condo and the buyer has a mortgage company, the mortgage company requires a document called a 6D, right? Mm-hmm. So the 6D is to certify that the condo fees are paid, they're up to date, they haven't been neglected, so you don't accidentally buy this thing and have $10,000 in past due fees.
Right.
Because if a buyer does that, they could neglect and default on their mortgage. Well, when you do the 6D, the HOA requires the new owner's information so
Right.
that they have it on record that it's closing on this date, and now this person is going to be responsible for the billing. How did they? These are first-time home buyers, right? Did she say
I
that
believe
or
they
no?
were.
I mean, let's assume that. Can we assume that they
Yeah.
got a mortgage? Is it safe? You think it's safe to assume they got a mortgage?
Yes.
Then how the heck did they? How the heck did that close? Unless the mortgage company and the title attorney were in cahoots, which is unlikely.
How did they? But wait a minute. You need to do a termite inspection if you're getting a mortgage. So they said here he told us to waive the termite contingency, and after we complete the termite inspection, we'll ask for a refund because the home will most likely need a termite repair. So okay, no, I understand what he's saying. So the termite contingency is that they have it, but that's so stupid. No, because if there's termite damage, you can't get a mortgage. You have to have the termite inspect. Like, what the hell? How did that happen?
Something's
not right there.
stinky in Denmark here.
Well, they said, and they said there was damage, and they wanted that $5,000 request, and they denied it by Zillow because they waived the termite contingency. Oh my God, that agent! What a moron! What a moron! That agent telling them that waive the termite contingency. Oh my God!
So these people. Well, okay. So this happened. Was the post 2 years ago?
Yes.
So what was the follow-up?
I'm trying to find, trying to see as we are
discussing. Because I'd be filing lawsuits.
Well, some people are saying, somebody wrote here, it sounds like he closed the sale with a title company. If they escrowed funds, the title company should have taken care of all the transfer documents and escrow payments for you. That might have included payment of a home warranty. I'd contact them to have them address any issues related to this. If there are penalties that resulted from them not paying as they should have, the title insurance should cover it. If you feel you want to pursue action against a real estate agent, you have a number of options that don't involve paying for an attorney. You can attempt to contact their broker. The broker may have them make it right in some way. If that doesn't work, you might be able to file a complaint and get compensation from the state board.
Yep. Yep.
So
go through arbitration.
So listen to this. Somebody wrote, Zillow has their own title company in some areas. And if not, whoever the title company is, I'm sure has a relationship with Zillow. Both of these things could lead to the incompetence you stated. That's a really good point. Yep.
They're all in bed together.
Yep. And somebody commented here, when people say you don't need a buyer's agent, just call the listing agent. They don't realize how much more frequently crap like this happens than a hassle-free transaction. Amen. Right? Don't go to the listing agent, just like we just said.
Because here's the thing. It's like, okay, so I'll give you an example that, like, if you have a buyer, say that is not a first-time home buyer, buyers that, been around the bend, and I've bought and sold properties and I know what to ask and all the things. Okay, so say you ask the seller, is there, in terms of the lot next door, is that, buildable? They're going to do anything with it? Is it, whatever? Is it, they're going to put a sewage treatment plant on it? Oh no, nothing's pending. But then further research finds out that there's scuttlebutt that's coming down the pipe. Now the listing agent told you what they're required.
Right.
End of story. A buyer's agent's going to dig deeper.
Yep.
A buyer, if they do their job, they're going to dig deeper than they're required to find out, to make sure that we're getting the whole story here. And that's the difference between you can advocate for yourself. Now, yes, a buyer can do that. A buyer can get on Google. A buyer can 100% advocate for themselves. But is it possible that they might forget to ask something? Is it possible that not every stone might not be that might miss turning over a stone, or not negotiating 100%? on your behalf. That's the
Right.
thing that I have a problem with, is that when a buyer is dealing, representing themselves, Jackie, I don't care how engineer brain you are. If you're buying a property, you have an emotional involvement in the process.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, unless you're totally dead inside,
Right.
there's some sort of emotion. I'm not talking about investments, right? Investor properties and stuff like that. Totally different, right? I'm talking about anybody that's going to buy it and use it for their own purpose. When you buy a property, there is emotional involvement. You buy the property because you fall in love with it, or you like it, or something, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not just a checkbox. So how do you negotiate logically if you're being led aesthetically, if you're being led with your heart and you have that in the back of your mind? Case in point, the kid with the buckling floors.
Right.
Okay? You may have been a smart kid, but the thing is you can't separate the two. That's where the agent steps in.
Exactly.
They carry the load. They carry the load so that they can be the steady and say, I know that this sucks, and I know that the seller is being a jerk, and the way that they approached it is awful, and all the things. However, here are the facts.
Right.
Here are the facts. Boom, 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 boom. These are the reasons why you should go for plan A. Boom, boom, boom. Here's the reasons why you should walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's impossible to, unless you're like, Freud or something. Unless you're you'd be like, So the thing is that you separate the emotion from the logical, and the logical is that you do this because it's a money situation, and blah. I'm not making have a good accent, but anyways, you get the idea.
I got you. I got you. Somebody questioned here, why would you waive the termite contingency when the agent is telling you it will most likely have termite damage? And this the buyer, the original poster said he told us they wouldn't accept our offer without waiving it, but we would ask for a credit once the report came back. I realized we look like big idiots here. We were fooled. See, again, why you need. But if I was representing them as a buyer, I'd be like, hell no, you're not doing that. I don't care.
Because case in point, 2 years ago, right? Yeah. Super, super high level emotion because of all the shitstorm that was going on with multiple offers and houses selling in hours and crazy high overprice, like super intense, fast-paced decision making, right? And a buyer agent's going to take a step back because we're not buying the house.
No.
I have time. I can take myself out of the situation. Yes, I have to move quick. Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying? It's of course they went along for the ride because they got swept up emotionally.
The pressure that people were under, and now they're paying for it.
It's gross. It was gross and awful, and I hated every minute of it. I did not enjoy.
I did too. I hated that time. Everyone's like, "Oh, you made a lot of money." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? That wasn't fun. It wasn't fun."
And you know what? I didn't make. I mean, I'm okay. I paid the bills.
Yeah,
I paid the bills. I made some decent money, but I didn't make $1 million. But partly because
that was a perception out there, Jen. That was a perception.
It was.
Everyone's like, "Oh, well, you're making a lot of money." I'm like, no. But
no,
whatever.
It's because we have a buyer and we might have to submit like 10 offers and
hope it gets accepted. And
then maybe. And
God.
And sometimes you don't know, but it's like but the other thing too is I wasn't. Here's the difference, Jackie, with you and I versus a lot of other agents. I never try to talk anybody into buying a house.
Me neither.
The agents that were talking their buyers into buying houses were making more money because they were turning them over faster. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? They were like, you got to offer, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And then cha-ching, next, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Yep. And you and I were like, you do the best you can do. Yep. That's all you can do. And if it's not good enough, we'll try again.
Exactly.
So we're working with the same buyer and that's why that a lot of agents were like cashing in. But
Yep.
it is what it is. But hey,
These
if
poor
we can
people.
if we can save one soul from making a bad decision with this
Jen,
podcast,
that's why we're here, Jen. That's why we're doing
yes.
this podcast.
So
So those are my stories.
So we don't have any more of these sad stories, because these sad stories just tug at my heartstrings.
I know.
I just don't like them anymore.
I get fired up. I get my Sicilian up, man. I get so mad. I'm like, what's the matter?
Oh, and you let me tell you, the general public listen to this. You don't mess with Jackie Baker.
Don't mess.
If I'm in a dark alley with anybody, I'll take Jackie. No joke. That is no joke. Because I'm telling you,
yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Don't mess. Don't mess. Don't mess, man. No way. Oh my God, Jen. So it's been
It's pretty good.
It's an hour and 10 minutes, and we got through all these stories. I'm so excited.
You're so funny with the time. You're like my timekeeper. I'm gonna be my
timekeeper.
timekeeper.
I am.
I'm just on for the ride. You get the stories, you watch the time, and I just go along for the ride, and it's such a fun ride.
And you're so damn good at it. So.
Oh, you likewise, my friend. Likewise. Well, that's it for this week, Jackie. Everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, be safe, be kind.
Yes.
Do something nice for your neighbor. Check in on your neighbor.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing. Make sure they're doing well, especially as we're starting to get some heat, especially down south.
Yep.
Check in on your neighbors. Make sure they're doing okay, even especially the elderly, and just do something nice, unexpected for somebody this week.
Cool.
I think that would be good, right?
Yeah.
Just put it out there. It'll come back, right, Jackie?
1,000,000%.
You put enough good out in the world, it'll come back.
It sure will.
All right, everybody. Till next week.
Yes. Peace.
We'll see you later. Be good.
Bye.
Bye.